All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Your girl Starshima here. Welcome to Nurse podcast with your host Starshima. I am Starshima, the nurse coach. And what I do is I help highly skilled nurses package up their education, their experience, and their expertise to be able to create a premium coaching practice to transition from bedside nursing to a life of freedom, um, impact, and influence. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday. And here we are at episode 23. And episode 23 here on the Nurse to Nurse podcast, we are going to be talking about three common mistakes that I see that coaches are making within the industry that are costing them money, that is costing them from landing their premium client. So, we're going to talk about those three common mistakes today. And then I'm going to give you three actionable things that you should do to make sure that this is no longer standing in your way from you with impact, influence, and income. So, as you're coming in, drop in the chat box. Just let me know that you are here. Say, hey, girl, hey. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And let me know if you are a nurse who is ready to earn more, drive a greater impact in the world, and work in a fraction of the time. And if you are already an existing coach that you're not landing the ideal client in which you want to land, that this is your season to be able to do so. All right. I was just doing a check just to make sure we were good on our ends. Happy Sunday. All right. So let's just jump right into the content of what we want to talk about today. I think the information is so crucial, and this is going to benefit every nurse that or coach out here in the market. All right. So before I jump into the content this morning, let me just tell you what the Nurse to Nurse podcast is all about. So, the Nurse to Nurse podcast is a place where nurses can come together and have next level type of conversations. Like, these are the conversations of inspiration and innovation, right? Inspiring, innovative type of conversations that help us drive a greater impact in the world. So, here on the podcast, we're going to talk about things of leadership. We're going to talk about things of personal branding. We're going to talk about things that are standing in our way as wives and mothers. And all our other capacities of our lives that may prevent us from getting to where we want to go. So we just have real conversations here on the Nurse to Nurse podcast. So that's what we're about here. If this is your first time tuning in, be sure to catch us live every single Sunday for a live episode here. All right, so let's just jump into the content again. Episode 23 is all about three mistakes that cost coaches premium clients, right? That's really standing in the way for them earning their greatest capacity. So I just want to know, and you can drop it in the chat box, are you ready to close the clients that can pay you? And if you are, then you're in the right conversation of an inspiring conversation that's going to get you there. So lately you probably found yourself, you're working hard, right? Just showing up. You have magic. You know what you bring to the game. You're showing up consistently, but then you're not landing your ideal client. And boy, can I tell you that can get hella frustrating, right? The reason why I can speak to these are things that I went through young in my coaching profession that stood in my way. And once I changed these things, everything changed. When I talk about everything, I'm talking about the key things like my impact, my influence, and my income. These things was keeping me away from getting to where I needed to be. It was three solid mistakes that I was making. And once I fixed them, the game changed for me. But in this, when I was trying to figure all of this out, listen, y'all, and you may be in the same place, I begin to question myself as a new coach. And I begin to question, is this really what I should be doing or is it not? Because I was showing up consistently. I had the inspiring post. People was telling me I'm inspirational, but behind the scenes, I wasn't closing clients. So I don't know if y'all ready for this good content. But that's what I was struggling with behind the scenes. So I had to do some digging deep, I had to look and analyze at where was I off. And these were three mistakes that was costing me from landing premium clients. And I see this across the injury industry of what's costing other coaches from landing their premium clients as well. So if you're frustrated today and you're ready to close your ideal client, then again, you're the right person in the room. And I just want to tell you that it is not that your offer isn't good. Okay. I'm going to tell you that it's not because you're not talented enough of why you're not closing the ideal client. I'm here to tell you it's not because you do not have the huge email list or you're not the popular coach or consultant. Those are false realities that we feed ourselves that are not the truth, but really it's one of these or all of these three things in combination to some degree that can be costing you. So let's just jump into what are the three things. I'm going to dive into the three things and explain to you what they are. Okay. And then I'm also going to give you what are three actionable type steps that you can take today to change how you're closing your premium clients. And these are all the things that I talk about within the 30-day boot camp, which I go a lot deeper within to help the clients who come in who are already established coaches in the industry, who are ready to earn more in their capacity. This is what I help them do to get crystal clear. But I'm here to give you some value that you can take this and run with this today and really be able to see some change in what you're doing. Let's make your efforts. I'm all about practical, being very, very practical. I don't like to work things 3, 4, 5 times. I don't want to show up 25 times to land a client, right? I want to do it practical. I want to do it as lean as possible. And that's just what I like to do. Perhaps it's just the nurse that's in me, right? I don't like to go in a patient's room 10 times. I like to cluster my care and get it done and get out and deliver, right? So that's the same thing. Same approach that I'm going to help you with giving you this content today. All right. So y'all ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? All right. You like Star Shima? What is it? So I hope you got your pen. Get your pen and get your piece of paper. Um, and let's talk about it. What's up? I see Miss Cooper on the line. What's up, girlfriend Rena? Thank you for joining in today. I see you here. I appreciate you. So hopefully you got a good pen and a piece of paper because again, now knowledge is nothing. We can be consumers of knowledge, but knowledge is nothing unless we apply it. So you want to be able to apply this information that I'm giving to you. So you want to write it down. You want to put it into application. You know, no matter how many degrees you have, no matter how many skill sets you have, if you are not going to take action on the information, it's nothing, right? People say knowledge is power. Only if you apply it. All right, let's let me digress. All right, let me go in. I was just giving y'all a few minutes to get y'all pens and piece of papers. If y'all didn't have it, I'm gonna jump into the content. All right, so what are three mistakes that I am seeing coaches make in the market today, right? And these mistakes that these coaches are making, they're not bad mistake, you guys. I'm not trying to say something to you to make you feel like you're doing something absolutely bad. It's so taboo. Like, what the heck is wrong with you? This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these are common mistakes that are being made, and here's the way that you can fix it. So here we go with it. So, three mistakes that coaches are making that impacts their revenue. One is they have poor brand messaging. Okay. Now, let me talk to you why messaging is so important. Messaging is the driver of your brand, right? Just think about this. Like, your message is what's getting people to you. So if your messaging isn't clear, then you are essentially confusing the people that you serve. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I'm a studier of my market, right? Because as a business owner, we are here to solve problems. So I study women who are in my ideal audience. So I watch what is happening. So, what happens is when I talk about poor brand messaging and how it may be impacting your ideal client to you, is because they're confused, right? Everyone has a personal brand, whether or not you choose to leverage it or not. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you leave the room. It's about the impact that you make. It's like what you stand for, what's your purpose, right? And you should leverage it intentionally. I help women build personal brands to build their premium coaching practice. Is because you need that. You are the brand of you. People are buying you. But when your messaging is off and people don't know really what you stand for, people don't really know what you do, and they don't know how you can help them, then of course you just stay as an inspiring person on the internet that, yeah, they look like they're doing something, it seems inspiring, but they never make that next move to hire you or to inquire about your services, because your messaging isn't clear to let them know what you can do to help them, or even if you're a person that I want to be in your tribe. Oh, y'all better pick that up. So when you don't have clear messaging, it's impacting your revenue, because that potential client who's watching you every day is inspired by your story, is inspired by your journey, and you may feel like you can help them, but they're not inquiring or taking the next move or clicking the link or jumping on your strategy call, is because they don't know how you can help them. So messaging is the vehicle that gets the person to you. And you have messaging for your brand, you have messaging for your offers as well. So when your messaging isn't clear, it's impacting your revenue. Because here's a small statement that you may have heard before, but I hope it hits home a different type of way for you today. Because if a person is confused, they will not buy. Bottom line. So, number one, poor brand messaging is costing your impact. So, if your message isn't clear, it's time to get clear. This is the thing that I help the women in the 30-day boot camp get really, really clear about their message, right? They already got the magic. They've been out here, they've been showing up, but I need to fine tune a few things. And fine tuning your message is okay. Your messaging is going to change over a period of time as you grow, as you evolve, right? It's going to change. So, being clear about that. The second thing that is happening to coaches in the market that is impacting them is they're trying to service everyone. And let me tell y'all, I was the guru of trying to service every type of woman who wanted to work with me. I think my messaging in the beginning was every woman who crosses my path, right? Like I felt like I was for them. But let me just let me get a little shishi on y'all for a minute. But the real reality is you can't service everyone, and everyone is not for you. And when I talk about for you, people can be in your circle, they can be inspired by you, but you have a particular assignment for a particular type of woman or man or child, depending upon who you're servicing. And it's time to get really, really hyper focused on that individual. Let me tell you why this is costing you revenue. The reason why trying to service everyone is costing you revenue, it goes kind of back up to number one, which is around that messaging, right? Messaging is so powerful. You got to get those messages. You got to be able to play with your words, right? To hit people right in their bellies, to inspire them to be able to move. So, in when you're trying to service everyone, you really don't have a narrowed down type message. Now, let me just give you my example again. Again, I said I wanted to service every woman that crossed my path. So when I began to talk on social media, and yeah, I was inspiring people, I was talking about the things that women went through, all these different types of things, right? But then let's when I switched my message and I narrowed my audience, I went from all kind of women, which means all kind of women can be stay-at-home moms, all kind of women can be corporate professionals, all kind of women, right? But when I began to narrow my niche and said, hey, I narrowed it a little further and I'm even more defined now, is I went to, hey, I want to work with service-based entrepreneurs, right? So that was everybody who was in service-based. So if you was a baker, you was my ideal client. If you were um a hairstylist, you were my ideal client. Service-based business, if you was the massage therapist, you were my ideal client. But think about that, even so many people in so many different industries, was I still narrowed yet, y'all? No. So this is why making sure you're clear about who you're serving is important. And again, I won't dig too deep. Let me just stay on target here for a moment because I'm going somewhere. Now, let me show y'all which y'all where my message is right now. And I hope that you can see how narrowing your niche is where your money is going to be. Then It's riches in the niches. It just really, really is. So now, hey, I'm Starshima. I am the nurse coach. I help highly skilled nurses package up their expertise, their experience, right, and their education and create a premium coaching practice. If you looked at where I started out in my business, to the midpoint in my business where I just pivoted from to where I am today, my niche is super defined. And once I made that hard pivot, things begin to change. So when I tried to service everybody, I was tired. I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed out. And I was wondering, why the heck is this not working? And perhaps you feel like that right now. I get that. And that's why I can come to you in full transparency and tell you this is not it. You are costing yourself money. You are burning yourself out. You are overwhelmed. You're questioning your magic because you don't want to stop and think about, who do you really serve? Now, again, I help women package up what is where they've been, right? They're either their education, either they're coaching from an education type standpoint, or either they're coaching from a space that they've already traveled to help someone else get there. I help them package up their genius, right? So with that, you need to know, who is that woman who's trying to walk the path of where you've been, or who is that person who needs the education that I have to help them get from their pain point to their destination. Okay, so type one in the chat box if this is relatable for you. So when you're not clear, it's going to cost you not just money, but it's costing you time, it's costing you energy, it's costing you your confidence. So the second thing is, what's costing you money from closing a deal as a coach is you're trying to service everyone. You're not for everybody. Let's just be clear about that. Be okay about it, but service who you need to service, double in, double down, and go all in it. And let me, this is a good segue that leads me to number three. And number three of why coaches are not making the money that they want to make, or to close their premium clients like they want to, they have a lack of consistency. But let me tell you how this strategically builds why you may have a lack of consistency, because I remember when my message was off. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed out. I wasn't even telling people how I can really help them. I was just showing up and being an inspiration. And that's cool too. But the reality is, the reason why I packaged up my genius was because I wanted to help somebody get from where they were going. So my messaging was off, right? And then I didn't know who I was serving. I was trying to serve everybody. I was overwhelmed. I was stressed out. I was burning the midnight oil. I was waking up early. I'm spinning my wheels, and I was the creator of all things. I was creating products and services that people didn't even want or even need. Y'all better, oh, I guess I'm just being too real with y'all right now. And in that, it caused me to have a lack of consistency because I was so busy. And instead of doubling down on what was my message and who was I serving and how was I going to serve them, I was trying to create so many different digital products and courses and programs that people didn't need. And then it began to impact me, and I was overwhelmed and I was stressed out. And then in that, I couldn't be consistent, right? I was questioning myself. I was questioning whether this was really it. Should I just go back to bedside nursing? Should I not do this? And why did I have this big fluke of an idea? Right. So it caused me to not be consistent. And in my lack of consistency, and you lose some credibility in that, because people are much more skeptical, right, than they are willing to buy right off the bat. So sometimes people look for you to continuously show up, to not fall off, to do what you say that you are going to do. I think about in nursing, one of the biggest things that we learn is to like keep our word, right? We're honest, we're integral, and we're consistent. So if we tell our patient, I'm going to be back in 45 minutes, by all means, you want to keep that, right? And that's the exact same things that happens to us in our businesses, right? We don't keep that consistency. And in that lack of consistency, we lose the trust, we lose the credibility. And in that, it costs us money, right? It really does cost us money. And it's really standing in the way. And I know you probably thought Starshima's getting ready to tell me some way magical type things, that I didn't know about. And perhaps, yes, you know about your messaging, right? You know that you should serve you should have a target audience. And yes, you know you should be consistent. What happens is, though, we forget about the bare basics of things. You have to take it back to the basics. And the basics is what's costing you. It's not those fancy, people think that they need the big email list. Someone thinks that they need the big publicity on social media. They need thousands upon thousands of followers. That's not true. What you need is the person who knows how you can help them. They need to see you show up consistently. They need you to talk their language, and they need to know the transformation that you're going to bring to them. That's what they need. That is where your freedom is. That is where your coin is. And it's not the big fancy email list. All those things come. So many people in business try to run before they crawl. Okay. Well, they try to run before they walk. Let me change that. And they try to walk before they can crawl, and not giving themselves the muscles in which they truly need to build the business. I gave an example in one of my trainings that, we think about make this make sense, Starshima, to me, of what you mean that people jump ahead of the game. So the reason why we do things the way that we do things, and the reason why business grows the way that they grow, is because each level you build a new muscle. Okay. So I'm gonna give an analogy of a baby. Okay. So a baby, typically this is how the process goes, right? So babies, what typically happens is babies, they begin to crawl before they walk, and before they begin to crawl, they begin to scoot, right? And then you think about what is happening when they're making that move of being able to scoot, they're building a muscle. And then once they build that muscle good enough, then now they're crawling. Okay. They crawl and those muscles are good. And now they can pull up and they stand up, right? And now they're walking along the furniture. And then eventually the muscles get so strong that they can let go. And they let go and they begin to walk. And then as they begin to walk, then their muscles, their stability, their everything, their coordination gets really good. Then they can run. That's the same thing you got to think about. That methodology is when you're thinking about building your business, is it takes those steps to get you there. So it's the bare basics, my friend. These three things can be costing you. So here's the thing, before I let you go, I got a few minutes here. Here's the way I said, how can you get better, right? What are the ways that you can turn these mistakes around and get you to earning more, landing your premium clients, and giving you a sense of like, yes, right? Building that confidence within yourself, is be able to articulate a clear message. And at the very minimum, you want to know who you are. You want to know who you help, how you help them, and where you get them to. What is that end result? People buy solutions. Like, I just don't want you to just to come and just, heal me. After you heal me, what am I going to do after I'm healed? Like, what is that end result? Because people buy the end result, not the process. Okay. That's a nugget for you. The second thing is, narrow your niche. Some people say, I want to help stay at home moms. Well, there's two different psychologies of stay at home moms. You may have a stay at home mom who is ready to get back in the workforce because she's ready to reconnect back to who she is and drive a greater purpose in the world. Then you may have a stay-at-home mom whose financial situation is a little disrupted and they have to get back in the workforce because they have to, right? It's not an option for them. What was working for them is no longer working. When you look at those two dynamics, their psychology is different, their mindset is different, the things that are paining them are different. So when you narrow in your niche, you're able to speak to your ideal client better. Okay. So understanding stay at home moms are very broad. It's just like saying women. Narrow it down to target what type of stay at home mom are you ready to work with in your business, as an example. The third thing is how to be consistent. The lack of consistency. I guarantee if you get clear about your message, if you know who you're working with, it allows you to easily show up consistently. And when I say be consistent, I'm not saying show up every day, 4 times a day, because I am a person who teaches quality over quantity. I see so many people can flood the internet and there's no value being added. But I see people who can show up once or twice a week and add consistent value, and they're trusted in the market. They're positioned as the authority. So being clear about your message and about who you serve allows you to show up consistently. So choose a platform. Okay. You don't need to be on Twitter. You don't need to be on Snapchat. You don't need to be on Instagram as well as Facebook, running 3 Facebook groups. You're doing too much. Here's the sauce. Figure out where your ideal client hangs out, that target audience that you want to work with, where they're hanging out. You hang out where they hang out, and you show up consistently, building relationship with those individuals, offering, serving, bringing value every single day. Okay. These are the 3 hows of how you can turn things around right now in your business, in your coaching business, to help you build your authority, to help you start closing your ideal clients. It's magic, y'all. It is the secret sauce to it. It's magical. It is absolutely magical. So if you are a coach, you're on this podcast, you're a coach, and you're not reaching the audience that you want to reach, you're not closing the deals that you want to close, and you're kind of at the brink of like, is this even for me? Let me go back to my day job and let me do what I need to do. If this is you, you are ready for a new level. You're ready to join me in my 30-day boot camp. Okay, so in the 30 days, what I'm going to help you do is really get clear about what you bring to the game, helping you really uncover your magic and saying, where should you be working? Where should you be helping? Where should you be serving? Okay, making sure you're in your zone of genius and you're doing what exactly it is that you want to do. Okay, and then we're going to get clear about who are you serving, understanding your person. Like, you should understand them like they're your best friends. You should be finishing their sentences for them. Okay. And so we're going to get clear about that. We're going to look at your target audience. We're going to talk about how are you going to serve them. I teach a particular type of coaching model that is very high touch, yet not as taxing on you as an individual. That's a very, very effective type coaching model, and the revenue is there as well, and you're not working as hard. So in there, I'm going to teach you about my framework and my coaching model to help you get to where you need to be. And then here's the thing, I'm going to give you a simple yet actionable type of strategy that you're going to be able to implement over and over again. It's not super complicated. I know you think you need all the funnels, you need the huge email list, you need the huge following, you need to be showing up consistently. No, that is not it. Okay. So let's make some moves. Let's do something. If this is a call to action for you and you feel like you're ready for this, send me an email at info at iamstarshima.com. In the subject line, put boot camp ready, and we will reach out to you and get you the content that you need so you can get started in the boot camp and get you started to articulating yourself well, talking to the people who you can serve, and elevating your impact, your influence, and income. I thank you so, so much for giving me your time, your listening ear to join in on the podcast today. Again, you can catch me live every Sunday for a nurse to nurse conversation, one that is inspiring, one that is innovative, one that is going to push and to propel you forward. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, info at iamstarshima.com. In the meantime, go out here and be great.